fellow stargazers, and welcome to Sister Stargazers, your half-hour show dedicated to looking at the astrology of the upcoming week. And this week it caps with a full moon lunar eclipse. So we're just coming off of the first quarter moon, and we got some sign changes of the personal planets, and we can talk a little bit more about Virgo. So stay tuned, and welcome to Sister Stargazers. Yeah, we're here in September. It's quite amazing. Hard to believe even. It just seems somewhat of a miracle that the year has gone by so much, so quickly. And then we're here at the last quarter of the year. So we're coming upon the first week. We are opening on Monday, September 1, the first day of September and the first week I'm going to be talking about. So this will take us up to Sunday, September 9th, 2025. And there is an aurora alert. So we're in the midst of some M-class solar flares that are Earth-facing. So the space weather, if anybody's interested, has a great app. Spaceweather.org has a great app that will alert you when there is an aurora watch. And so this evening, Monday, September 1, there is, and Tuesday, September 2, there is an aurora watch. So that's coming up. And we're also graced by the presence in our solar system with a comet this last quarter of the year. 3I Atlas comet is an interstellar traveler, and will be swinging, and it's actually really interesting. Its orbit is on the ecliptic, so it's not coming in at a steep declination or inclination to the ecliptic plane. It's coming in at the level of the ecliptic. So it's going to be coming in and passing close to Mars, and then making its way in towards the sun. And it'll circle around the sun. I think the perihelion is its closest approach to the sun will be in October, first week in October. So we have this interstellar traveler visiting, and there's a lot that's written about the astrology of comets, that they carry information and almost like they're intergalactic travelers. You know, they carry information from one place in the vast galaxy to another, and so there's a wonderful person that has information, really an astrophysicist, Stefan Burns, Stefan Burns, Burns, who has a wonderful YouTube channel. And I just want to encourage you to check him out, because he breaks everything down, makes everything simple, and he has also, he talks about planetary influences and brings a little bit of astrology into it. So for those of you that like this show, you might like his as well. So we are under the influence of this lunar eclipse coming up, this comet coming in. We also have Saturn on Monday the 1st, changing signs. So it's backing out of Aries into Pisces, where it was earlier this spring, and in a forward movement. So what we might be revisiting is the foundations upon which we've built our beliefs. That's Pisces. And also we might find that we're shifting, that the things that we thought we could rely on maybe in the past, or that we maybe looked the other way when we had doubts about them, that they're less substantial, less concrete, less less believable than they were before. So this backward track of Saturn is going to be influencing the entire last quarter of the year to help us to reintegrate the breaking down of old ideas, old beliefs. And then sometimes we don't even know we have a belief until it kind of bumps up against us and we feel like something kind of like, irritating, or we say like, that's not true. But then somehow the thought of if something not being true or of re-understanding it in a new way integrates a different belief or a different understanding. So there's this going on as well that's kind of underneath it all. This big outer planet, Saturn is the limit of what we can see with the naked eye. So it kind of defines our consensus reality. And when Saturn is retrograding, especially when it's retrograding into Pisces, whatever its foundation was, because Saturn is that foundation, that solidity, that measure, that discipline, right? Whatever that was starts to shift and break down because of the action of the Piscean nature, which is much more fluid, much more amorphic, ruled by Neptune. And Saturn has been hanging out with Neptune, so it's been getting a lot of Neptunian influences. And I always quote that Caroline Casey quote, Neptune lays the tracks. So imagination lays the tracks for the Saturn reality train. And both of those big planets are moving retrograde. And Neptune's already in Pisces. And let me see if that's correct. I'm pretty sure that's right. And Saturn has just today. Oh, no, Neptune is not yet moved into Pisces. Neptune is still in Aries, but Saturn today, the 1st of September, has moved back into Pisces. And Neptune will follow. It's already retrograde, but it will follow shortly, moving back into Pisces. And they will move forward in February. So we have this time period here where we're reassessing, reestablishing, reconsidering, reformulating, readdressing our foundations. We've just come from a first quarter moon with that sun in Virgo making a square to the moon in Sagittarius. So there might have been some, doubt, maybe shift kind of coming in a little bit. And this might be over a couple of days with this Saturn retrograde and the influence of this first quarter moon. Doubting maybe where you're going, what you're doing. Again, Sagittarius is beliefs. Virgo is wanting to have something concrete and solid and moving forward in a detailed fashion, having a plan. So that can be feeling like a bit of a tug of war. As we move into Tuesday, we've got Mercury leaving Leo, which is kind of a big deal. Mercury's been very expressive. Lots of people getting on soapboxes, that kind of expression. And as Mercury moves into Virgo, and Mercury rules Virgo, there's a more measured approach to speech. So you might not be so gung-ho on posting all those things to your social media. Just saying. There might be, more of a reticence or more of a measured or more of a kind of an understanding of maybe the consequences, because Virgo is tries to plan, and so there's a little bit more of a measured approach to communicating, and that can be with others through written or spoken word, and also with your own thinking, right? Because Mercury also rules your own mind, the everyday tasks. So you might feel a little bit more prone to organize your time, to kind of make sure you get through the things that you need to get through. And Mercury is going to be pretty quickly moving through Virgo. It stays in Virgo from the 2nd of September to the 18th. So this could be a really good 2.5 week period of just really kind of chugging through the to-do list and getting things set up in a better way for what you might be planning in October, November time period. On Wednesday, we've got Mercury pretty active because its placement newly in Virgo is making a quincunx up to Neptune in Aries. So Mercury in quincunx to Neptune is kind of that squeaky gate. You know, there might be something nagging, some little hidden doubt that's kind of pushing your buttons. And Mercury is also making a quincunx to Uranus. So there might be some discussions or unusual discussions or unusual ideas that are brought forth that, again, is kind of not what you expected, maybe a little bit off-putting. And then Mercury is also making a quincunx to Pluto. So quincunx is not a opposition, which is 180 degrees, and it's not a trine, which is 120 degrees. A quincunx is 150. So it's 150 degrees as a slice of the zodiac. But that's the angle, the geometric angle between the planets that I'm mentioning. So Mercury on Wednesday is pretty darn active, especially as it's been active on Tuesday, changing sign. So it's almost like moving house. So Mercury picks up all its stuff and moves into Virgo, where it has a completely different kitchen setup and bathroom and bedroom setup. It's going to install everything and then proceed from that platform to get stuff done. And then Wednesday, Mercury is then like kind of working the aspects of the unknown or the mysterious, the aspects of lightning bolt ideas kind of coming through. So Uranus is that higher octave of Mercury, and then Mercury's also playing in the depths. So Mercury's playing with Neptune in these quincunx aspects. So Wednesday could be kind of an unsettling day where you have to make adjustments maybe for within a conversation or within your own insights or imagination, or even deep kind of maybe the keys to unlocking some deep kind of dark, maybe not so dark, but just not fully expressed, maybe repressed emotion. That's Pluto. So Wednesday I would highlight as a kind of a day to just be aware of how you communicate. On Thursday, the moon is moving into Aquarius, where it quickly hooks up with Pluto. So the moon brings that aspect of the feeling nature, the emotion. So again, Pluto just having been activated by Mercury on Wednesday, the moon now activates Pluto. And at the same time, the moon trines Uranus. So we've got these guys again getting worked on, but not Mercury this time is aspecting them. It's the moon. So whatever was brought up on Wednesday in a conversation that you might have had to make adjustments for, Thursday, the emotion or the feeling nature starts to make sense of maybe what was discussed on Wednesday, because that moon in Aquarius is making a trine up to Uranus, the awakener, the planet of insight, and a trine that's an air trine. So again, that ideas are sparked in a good way. And then the moon makes a conjunction to Pluto, and that will help to integrate some of maybe the unease of Wednesday, the things that were brought up. And then the moon will make a sextile to Neptune, all the while making a quincunx to Mercury. So there's some feelings that need to be worked through, and it's okay not to communicate them because it's going to be a challenge with on Thursday with the kind of information that it looks like we might be privy to, and the kinds of feelings that are going to be generated by this information. All of that then on Thursday, being brought up by the moon, makes a quincunx to Mercury. So it's kind of like, it might feel like a bit of like you're on a merry-go-round or something, like things kind of go around, come around. You can't really understand how that could have happened. Why did that happen? What was happening when that happened? Well, who is responsible? So there might be some of that kind of agitation going on midweek. The other thing that makes that a possibility is Mars is making a square to Jupiter. So we've got Jupiter in Cancer, which is so good. Jupiter is at home in Cancer. It loves to feel good. It loves to hang out with folks. It loves to know its tribe, its people. It loves cooking big meals and having people over and just being, happy. And it's making a square over to Mars in Libra, which is an ambassador for peace, but sometimes can get kind of excited and not so diplomatic. So there might be aspects of really hard diplomacy that we want to be aware of on Thursday. So what we want to say, you may not really need to say. And there's a fighting spirit about Mars that will, be exaggerated by this square to Jupiter. And this energy on Thursday plays into the eclipse on Sunday because aspects with Mars are in effect for about a week. So you just want to, I'm just saying, you might want to be more cautious about your thoughts, your speech, and where you direct those and how much charge you bring to what you say. Because that's going to be a kind of a pivot for you. The moon on Friday is still in Aquarius, and it makes an opposition to Venus. And so this, again, is kind of, Venus is over in Leo, being very expressive and generous and heartfelt. And then the moon in Aquarius is somewhat cold and detached. So, again, there might be a need to parse out the feelings from the words. And that might be a challenge this week, and this is also playing into this eclipse. On Saturday, we have Uranus stationing retrograde. So it was such a big deal when it moved into Gemini. And it made a conjunction to Sedna, which is really kind of a signature event of our times. It's all about AI, higher intelligence, bringing in information from past generations and knowledge from other places, aggregating knowledge. And so Uranus is starting now this week on the 6th, September 6th, moving retrograde. And it won't be completely, it's just at 1 degree Gemini, but it will be making its way back into Taurus. So we've got Neptune, we've got Saturn moving into Pisces. Neptune will move into Pisces, I think, later in December. And then Uranus moves back into Taurus. So these are 3 planets that are retrograding back to where they were originally. And they're kind of doing it within the same time frame, which makes it really interesting. So looking at where Uranus is, you might look at where 1 degree Gemini is in your own chart and see what ideas came forward for you from the May-June time, and what you might have to go back over and kind of settle into a little bit more. You might have to, so this is my take on Uranus in Taurus, embodiment. And there's been a lot of discussion about embodiment and somatics. So this has been part of what I think Uranus's trek through Taurus has been about. It's been about understanding how the body holds not only emotion and can generate emotion, but how it holds emotion and how that emotion can then act out through tenseness in our musculature. So there's a lot about this now with trauma fascia, Fascia, fascia. Fascia is the wrapping around all of the musculature of the body, and it's almost like it's like the wetlands of the body. It's holding, it's water, and as we know, water holds frequency, and emotion is frequency. So when we have an unexpressed emotion that gets stored in our body in the water system, it's in the fascia, which is in the part of the wrapping of the musculature. So now they're unpacking all of this, and they can clearly work through with energetic healing the release of some of this stuff, and myofascial healing and all of that, which is another topic altogether outside of astrology, but it's part of what I think is this retrograde of Uranus back into Taurus, which will ask us to embody more of what we experience and understand it in a deeper way. And actually, this eclipse, this full moon lunar eclipse, which we won't see in America, except if you're on the West Coast. My listeners on the West Coast will see this. And but we can deconstruct, and I want to deconstruct this full moon for you. Where can you see the full moon? It's going to be a total lunar eclipse. So that's a full moon. And it will be visible in Russia, Asia, lots of Australia. Regions seeing at least some of the eclipse include Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, western areas of North America, eastern areas of South America, the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian Ocean, the Arctic, and the Antarctic. And you might also just be aware of news, so information coming through in the next 6 months regarding bigger news stories regarding Russia, Asia, Australia, because where the eclipse is visible is also where it has its most impact in terms of the world stage. All right, so that's on Sunday the 7th at 2 the exact moment of the eclipse is 2:08 p.m. But here's how I wanted to deconstruct the eclipse for you. So, and in kind of looking at it in terms of the physical, like what we can do physically, because it is Virgo, it's an earth sign, sun in earth sign, moon in Pisces, water sign. And so the sun at 16 degrees Virgo is, the image picture of the Sabian symbol is an orangutan. So the sun is in Virgo, and the orangutan is, the keynote for this is the instinctual connection with the physical body as a launch point for achievement. So really tuning in is going to be important. Tuning into your physical body even all week even, but most especially on Sunday, the 6th, was the 7th, because this is part of this eclipse. So the sun in Virgo at 16 degrees, instinctual connection with the physical body as a launch point for achievement. So also Virgo, so we're looking at health and issues of health, and maybe cleaning up our diet or letting go of some of our more negative habits or addictions, right? And then the moon is at 16 degrees Pisces, the flow of inspiration, and its keynote is connecting with source. So the idea is that if at this eclipse we can release what isn't serving us, that's Virgo, and we can connect with something more, if we can release what isn't serving us, and this is also a south node lunar eclipse, so the sun is at the point of the south node, the moon is at the point of the north node. So the sun, if we can release the habits, the addictions, the daily health patterns that no longer serve us, we can then, that's the south node, no longer serves us, we can then find inspiration in what will take us to to a place that's new or that's more oriented to where we can excel. That's the North Node in Pisces. So the moon is conjunct the North Node in Pisces, asking us to give our inspiration to the thing that will take us further. And so this is kind of a really pivotal time. I mean, it would be anyway with this full moon, but because it's an eclipse, it involves the North Node and the South Node, which are points of destiny. So there might be something, during this time, during this week, that you really start to think about letting go of, that it doesn't help you to carry around anymore. It's not necessary. It's not even important that you need it. That's kind of what I'm taking out of this picture here. And there's a couple of other Sabian symbols that I wanted to let you kind of fill in the blanks on. So Mercury is at 10 degrees of Virgo, and it's about a boy molded in his mother's aspiration for him. And the summary of this keynote of this particular degree is the vision of potential as the true origin of character. And that it kind of feeds into that North Node. And if I look at the chart where Mercury is, yes, Mercury is in opposition to the moon as well. So Mercury, the information is coming in to help you let go of what no longer serves. That something that perhaps was brought in from someone else's aspiration for you maybe you don't need to be living up to that anymore. Venus is at 15 degrees Leo and 16 rounding up 16 Leo. Sunshine just after a storm is the image, and the summary is understanding the implicit silver lining amidst difficulties. So this particular lunation it might be kind of challenging because we've got that Mars square Jupiter that wants to fight. But then we may not have all the information we need, which is that all of those Mercury aspects to the outer planets, right? Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn that are happening midweek. So it might be really good to kind of let yourself feel like everything is happening to support you rather than everything is happening to destroy you, if that makes sense. We also have Mars at 21 degrees Libra, which I talked about, Mars squaring Jupiter, a crowd upon the beach. So that's the image picture, and the summary is ignoring the strictures, the kind of constraints of societal rules for inner gain. So again, you might want to think about what are the things that you've been, a crowd on the beach, like going along with the flow kind of because everybody else is, maybe ignoring those because you're going for something bigger, which is that new moon in Pisces that full moon in Pisces asking us to align with our North Node, our true North, our instinctive calling. So it's a big week. I hope you can get out and see some auroras and see all of the new, see what might be happening in the sky and get some inspiration from that for sure. All right. Well, take care, everybody. Thanks for listening. It's so great. I'm really appreciative for every one of you tuning in. And watch the Facebook page. We've got some postings over there. All right. Take care. Have a great week. And bye for now.